I feel like he's like watching me right now. Now there's two things that I hate, long intros and how this jacket looks on me. I'm SD and luckily I've got control over both of those things. Let's do this. Man, this jacket, it looks and feels so much better in every way possible, but how did we even get here? I've got my jacket pinned up exactly where I want it to be. These pins on the side right here, these come into 1 1/4 inch. And the pins that I have on my sleeve, these come into 1 inch. And when I get down to the cuff down here, this last pin right here, this is actually about 3/4 inch because I want to make sure that I taper this seam out to the cuff perfectly. If I don't do that, if I make way too drastic of a cut and then kind of come into the cuff like that, what's gonna happen is I'm gonna flip this jacket right side in and it's gonna look stupid. It's gonna look ridiculous. Don't do it, I've done it. And I am using sewing pins, yes. You can use safety pins if you want to, but you need to replace them with sewing pins. You need to replace them because it's next to impossible, if not 100% impossible, to take out a safety pin when you are actually tailoring this thing on a sewing machine. Just don't do it. I've done it. It's not worth it. Now we have a huge, massive problem with this jacket that like 90% of you are not going to run into, but for the 10% of you that will, this is for you. And it has to do with this pocket right here. I had to take so much off of this jacket that this new seam is gonna come right up close to our pocket, which means that this pocket, it's gonna shift to the outside a little bit 110% of the time. Nobody will notice it unless you point it out to them. Works fine. Like, it's not a big deal at all. But that being said, you're gonna notice it, you're gonna be aware of it, not a big deal at all. I mean, for a $4 jacket at Target, oh well. And now it's time to sew this bad boy, right? No, not yet. We gotta do the flex test first. Oh, what's that? Hey SD, I don't know what the flex test is. Now you can't just measure and pin something and then just stand there like a goon and be like, yup, it fits, I like it. No, don't do that. You gotta get out there and bend and move and stretch and do things in that jacket that you would normally do to see if you actually like the fit. Now does this jacket pass the flex test? Let's see. Hey, look at that. It passed. Pretty surprising for a $4 jacket, huh? Now we gotta flip it inside out, we gotta put our pins back in there, and now we're actually gonna sew it. So what kind of needle are we gonna use? Oh, you're gonna use a denim needle. Why? Because despite the fact that this jacket isn't technically denim, it's really thick, so it's gonna be able to like, you know, go just fine. So what kind of thread are we gonna use? Oh, you're gonna use polyester thread. Why? Because despite the fact that like cotton thread might be more comfortable in this, it's not gonna be able to move and bend and stretch with you like polyester thread would. Good job. Let's do this. Okay, so we've got our machine all set up the way that we need it to be. We've got our stitch tension adjusted. We're just gonna do a normal straight stitch. We've got our machine adjusted to that. So let's do that. We're gonna start by locking in our stitch by making a back stitch. And now we're gonna sew like we normally do, but just go as slow as you need to because this is a thicker material and your machine might not be up to it. And if it's not, it's gonna let you know. It's gonna start going like, not really that bad, but you get the idea. So start off slow and then just kind of work your way into it. And we're going right next to these pockets right here. I even could have taken in maybe about 2 inches on the side here. So let's say I were to go back and try it on and I'm still not really that happy with the fit. Let's say I could have, you know, made it a little bit more slim or more tight. I know that I've got another 3/4 inch to work with on this side if I need to. Oh, no, it happened. This happens sometimes. My thread broke, is what it is. You're gonna run into issues like that. There's some certain reasons as to why that could happen. There's like 3 main reasons. One of the biggest ones being that you're not using the right needle with the right thread, which in this case it's okay, but is what it is. Let's just keep going. Actually, the reason why it happened this time is because there's a little notch on your thread here that holds your thread in place, and it ended up getting caught on that notch right there, which that's never happened before. That has never happened in the like 100 things that I've tailored, but is what it is. You live and you learn and you move on. If your thread ends up breaking, the only thing you do is just pick up right where you left off. Line your machine up around where it broke off, and then just kind of start over like you're doing, or like you would at the beginning. So we're gonna start off by giving it a back stitch, go back a few, and then just go forward like it never happened. Boom, capiche! Okay, you can play outside with them. You have 15 minutes, okay?
Okay.
All right, what?
I'm going out the garage.
Go out the front door.
I'm using my bike.
What?
I'm using my bike.
Okay, fine, go ahead. So we're at the seam that runs right underneath our armpit, and these seams are kind of thick, so they can be tough to go over. So you want to go really slow. And what you can actually do, if your presser foot has a hard time going over it, you can just lift it up just like this and keep going real slow. And then as soon as you're over it, push it back down again. And now we're going to go straight through to the arm here. And now we're getting to this last pin that's on our sleeve, and this is the pin that we want to make sure that we taper out all the way back to the cuff, because, well, if we don't do that, then it's gonna have a stupid looking dimple and it's just gonna be dumb. So what I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna take this pin out right now instead of waiting, and I'm gonna just kind of eyeball it. Once you get this down, you'll get used to kind of eyeballing things, and you'll have a pretty good knowledge as to whether or not you're doing it right or you're doing it wrong. So we're just gonna taper all the way out here. And now we just do the exact same thing to the other side. Boom! That right there is what we are left with. So what we did is we just put a new straight stitch right on this guy. So this is our old one, obviously. This is our old seam, and our new seam runs right along right here. And I ended up kind of tapering in a little bit. It's gonna be okay. It's not gonna be a huge deal, but it goes in by about a 1/16 of an inch here as opposed to down here. Not a big deal at all. It happens sometimes. You would never in a million years notice it if I didn't point it out to you. Now, this is right here. This is where our thread ended up breaking, and people will a lot of times panic when that happens. They're like, oh my gosh, what did I do? I completely ruined it. No, like I said, you just have to, kind of start up here like you did down here. This, you don't even really notice it. You can see the back stitching a little bit, but that's about it. And we went up and we tapered. Excuse me, we didn't taper. We just kept sewing all the way through the sleeve, all the way down to the end of the cuff right here. And this is the part where we would normally finish our seam with a zigzag stitch. If you don't know how to make a zigzag stitch, what that is, it's just a zigzag. What we do is we'd cut this and we put a zigzag stitch right over the edge so that it doesn't fray. And I made a whole video on it. It's probably right there. Right there. I never remember which side cards pop out on. If you want to know how to make a zigzag stitch, go watch that. But we're gonna change it up. We're gonna do something different. I always use a zigzag stitch. I'm getting tired of always using a zigzag stitch, so we're gonna use this. Boom. See that? But wait, SD, that's just a pair of scissors. No, that's a pair of scissors. Those aren't scissors. Those are pinking shears. And what these do is they cut a zigzag stitch pattern in our garment for us. It's amazing! And it's so easy. We're gonna use those on this seam and it's gonna be great. It's not gonna fray. It's gonna save us a ton of time. We don't have to put a zigzags on here. So let's go ahead and let's do that. I'm gonna end up making a nice tutorial for you guys on pinking shears. Now I got these at Joann Fabrics. They were like 16 bucks, I want to say, something like that. And they had a couple of other different ones there that, man, there was a pair by Fiskars that was like, they were like $40. I'm like, nobody got time for that. Single dad, I'm not spending $40 on pinking shears. Now this right here, we're at the seam that runs underneath our armpit. It's kind of tough cutting it. I mean, I'm putting a lot of pressure on there and it's really just, it's kind of struggling. But if you kind of work it, we're through. It's good. So you might get some resistance. It might be kind of difficult, but you just gotta kind of, like everything in life, just push through it, I guess. Or just drink a lot. I don't know. And now our seam is finished. We put a nice zigzag pattern on there. You can see all of this, all that nonsense going up here, all the, stray stuff that came off of our jacket, but that's okay. What would be a good idea in the event that this happens is I would wash it by itself if I were you. Just kind of wash it alone so that you can get rid of any excess nonsense, and then you're good. You can wear it. This, you're good. It's not gonna fray. It's really awesome. And if it does, it was $4! And then you just do the same thing on the other side. And another question that I know that I'm gonna get in the comments is you wanna leave yourself 5/8 of a seam allowance, which is about 3/4 of an inch. Someone do the math for me, let me know. And if you leave too much fabric on here, not a big deal. If you don't leave enough fabric on here, not a big deal. The only difference is if you don't leave enough fabric on here, you might not have enough room for a zigzag stitch if you want to make one. Boom, that's all there is to it. I just realized that the front door is locked and my daughter closed the garage door to go ride her bike. So I'm gonna go unlock the door for her so she doesn't get locked outside. That's all I got for you. SD out, deuces.